Hello guys, welcome back to Bare and Unscripted. So today's video is a video I'm not exactly excited to talk about. So it's been a really um, trying week. It's just a whole lot of things happened. In fact, a whole lot of things have been happening. Um, I would admit that 2024 has been the worst year of my life, actually. I think I'm just here by the grace of God. I am in front of this camera only by the grace of God. I have never, listen, I thought that I've been through it all in life, not that I thought like nothing else could ever happen in my life because we can never predict life. But I thought I've been through it all, that I can handle it, you know. Um, but 2024 showed me flames. Needless to say, it's almost over, and I actually can't wait for it to be over. So I think I've been throughout this whole year, as difficult as it has been. Um, I've been privileged enough to be able to work on my channel, which is something that I never thought I'd ever do. You know, I created this channel initially to tell my own story 3 years after my divorce, because I had been so quiet about what happened, and there were so many um, things that were said about me, and there were so many lies, and there were so many, just a whole lot of things, that were said about me, and I had been quiet, and I believe that that was God helping me to keep quiet, because I'm not really a shy person. I'm not a quiet person. Um, you know, sure, I take time to get to know people before I myself, or I talk or anything like that. But I have never been one to shy away from anything. I've never been one to hide. I've never been one to, you know, try to suppress, how I feel about things. Like I would always express myself as much as I can, and as respectfully as I can. But at that time, I just felt like, you know what, I am not going to say anything. I'm just gonna let people assume. I'm just going to let the world, people think whatever they want to think. I'm just gonna let them believe whatever they wanted to believe about me. I I decided to protect my peace. I think that was for me, that was what was important, was for me to protect my peace, and for me to have this brain of mine, because I knew that there were so many things that I'm going to need to use it for, you know. So and I knew one thing, that that battle was not mine. I knew that that was God's battle, and I knew that it was God that was taking me out of that marriage. He had his own reasons for taking me out, even though at the time I didn't understand. 3 years later, I knew exactly what he was doing, and I was grateful for what he has done. So anyway, coming back to this week, I there were so many things, man, that came to my mind, and I was asking God a lot of questions, and I asked him also about this, because everything that I do in my life, I'm intentional about it. You know, I have to make sure that I have the right intentions for whatever I do. So I don't just do things for the sake of doing them. Literally, even going out to have coffee with someone, or having dinner with someone, or doing anything with someone, I need to know, like, what are my intentions. And if I don't feel good, if I don't feel okay with my intentions, then I'm not going to do it. Now, especially for what I'm doing here, I asked him, like, why do you want me to do this? And what is all of this? Um, and I'll be honest with you. I don't. I've always I've always been a private person as much as I can, especially when it comes to my personal things. I don't mind people assuming things about me. I don't mind people speculating about me. I don't mind people lying about me. It honestly doesn't bother me. I think I've always had that in my life. Like, geez, man, from high school, I've always, because I've always been this different one, this odd one, this one that people can't get, this one that people just can't, you know they always had that thing about me, like, I just can't put my, who is she, what is she all about, what, I guess I've always been a mystery in that way. um and I got used to it, and I was comfortable with it. Now with this channel, God was telling me that everything that I've put you through, Faith, everything, I want you to talk about it. And that is not an easy thing for a person like me. And so I so there would be times when you tell me to talk about something, and I'll be like, no, not that story, no, not that story. And I was like, well, this is exactly what I want you to talk about, because everything that I've put you through, everything that you've been through, it's not for you. Everything that I've put you through is for you to empower someone else. Guys, I won't lie to you. 41 years later, I'm 41 this year, I realized that each and everything that I've been through, God had a reason for it. It was not easy. None of them were. But he got me. He always got me. That's one thing I'm sure about. And I think that's what he wants me to say in this video. That he's got you. Whatever you're going through, if you are trusting in him, he has got you. Now, I when I was preparing for this video, I don't know how many times I cried. Okay, I don't know how many times I cried, because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to come here. I didn't want to speak about this. I have another thing that I was preparing to talk about, but um, I'm learning obedience. I'm learning to be obedient. I'm learning to listen to God and do exactly what He tells me to do. I haven't been good in that. That's why I said I am the prodigal daughter. If you are looking for a prodigal daughter, I am the prodigal daughter. She looks like me. Because God will be saying, Faith, go left, Faith will go right. God will say, don't talk to this person, Faith will go talk to this person. God will say, don't do, He will just say, I mustn't do things, and I'll do them. Because I think I know better, right? I think I've been through a lot. Therefore, I've got the skills. I would even go back, and remind him as if he doesn't know, and remind him, remember when this happened? This is how you came through for me. This is what I've gained from it. This was the lessons. Thinking that the lessons of my past trauma are gonna help me, in a new thing that I have to deal with. Anyway, which is not the case, and I've realized that, and I did apologize to God for that. I said, okay, I thought I knew better. I thought I've got the skills. I thought I've got this thing called life figured out. I thought I was the master of dealing with things that are heavy in my heart, I I thought I was trained. I thought I was trained to deal with each and every difficulty. I thought I had a library of ways that I've overcome adversity before. Therefore, that means that I can, whenever it comes. But I had no idea. I had no idea what was to come. So how could I think that I have it all figured out, like I can figure it out when I don't know what life has in store for me? So listen, I the other day I was thinking, I think I was about to go to bed or I was in bed and I was just sitting and I was thinking, like, when you go back to everything that has ever happened in your life, you go back to when you were born and all of these things. So I was playing that record back. I'll just give you a little bit of an idea of some of the most um, important things and also painful things that God has, where I've seen God, things that I know that God exists, things that have shown me that there is a God, things that have shown me that I'm not alone, things that have shown me that there is a higher power that is in charge of this life of mine, that I am loved, that, you know, uh, uh, um, that there's no way, man. There is no way I could have the life that I have now. There's no way I could still be smiling right now. So I think I'll just start with when, yeah, let me just start when my mother left this earth. So that was I was in oh I was in first year at varsity at that time. That must have been two um was it 2000 2000 2002? Yeah. um I passed my matric in 2001, went to varsity 2002. September, my mother passes away. Worst year of my life, or so I thought. Um, so now I'm stuck in 2003. I no one I have no one to pay for my fees. I'm at varsity. I need to continue my studies. Long story short, because there's a lot happened. Family distanced themselves from me. No one wanted to help me. No one wanted to support me and my brother in any way. My brother was 10 years younger than me at the time. I wanted to continue to study because I knew how important education was. And that's something that my mother taught me from a very young age, even though my mother has never been to varsity, by the way, even though she was an entrepreneur. Um, my mother never finished high school, but she knew the importance of education and she wanted me and my brother, to be the best in life and to be as educated as we can. And so I'm stuck now. I think I was 18 at that time. I was very young, so I can't work. In fact, I don't want to work. I want to study. Anyway, family is nowhere to be found, and then I had to come back to varsity and tell them my story. I decided, there's this boldness that I've always had. I guess as a child, I've always had that. Like, if I want to say something to someone, I go up to them and I say what I want to say. If I've never been scared of people, of humans in general. I've never, like, I would just, even people in society where everyone was like, no, 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 don't talk, it's very important. Like, okay, so then I would go and say whatever I want to say or ask them whatever I want to ask them. So now I was at varsity, and then so I went back to varsity from home. I don't know, I have no plan, right? It's Jan, beginning of the year. Now I'm supposed to be doing my second year, but my fees were not completed for the previous year. Now I've got this debt, so therefore that means I can't register for the following year, right? Now I'm going anyway. Packed my bags, got on a bus, left. I have no plan. All I know is I'm going to go to the office, to the financial office, and then I'm going to tell them my story. What happens after that, I don't know, but I'm going. And I did that. Got to varsity. I went to the office, told them my story, and they said I must come back the following day, and then I'm gonna fill in some forms. But then these forms need to be sent back. Someone needs to sign for me because I'm underage. I can't sign for myself. Someone needs to sign for me. I think a guardian or something needs to sign for me so that I can tell them, so that they know that there is someone who's looking after me, or someone who's looking after me, basically, because that was government money that they were going to help me pay my fees with. So I tell this lady, listen, I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to go. I, uh, I had family that I knew in the town, but I can't really go to them because, there's that story of the family just disappearing when your parents die. So I tell him, listen, I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to sleep. So what am I going to do? And this lady from the financial office, who had no business helping me, told me, okay, I'll call this residence, go there with your bags. Then I'll see you the following day when I'm giving you the forms. Listen, guys, long story short, I got the forms that she gave me, and now, uh, and then by the grace of God, I was able to register. I think I need, it was not a lot of money to register, and then I have debt with anyway. I stayed at varsity until March. I need to go back home so that I can get someone to sign these papers for me so that I bring them back. 2 week holiday at home. At home, um home now was at my uncle's house because I had to go and stay at my uncle's house. My brother had to go there because we couldn't stay at home anymore because we were young, and he was 10 years younger than me, and I was at varsity. And anyway, so I went back home. My mother's best friend, who she took in after her divorce, someone my mother looked after with her 2 kids. I first thought, okay, let me just ask her. Maybe she will help me. She will sign these papers for me as a guardian. And then she told me, no, I can't do that. I don't want to be involved in your family things. Why can't your aunt sign for you? And my aunt is not like the best human on earth, but because during our family meetings, um, she the uncle that she's married to was the elder at that time. So the family told the uncle to take us, whether he wants it or not, or whether he likes it or not. So aunt was not happy about this. Aunt didn't really like my mother. Family issues. Um, so I knew that she was never going to help me because she told me that I will never amount to anything anyway. Your mother, this and that, and the other one. But she was talking about someone who was not there. So anyway, I so they so the best friend refused, even though my mother took her in, took care of her. She had nothing. My mother helped her build a business. She was a tailor. My mother helped her build a business, even sold um, the things that she was making as a tailor. So anyway, but that's life for you. People that you help are the ones that are going to distance themselves from you. Didn't hold no grudges. Now I had no choice. I went back to my aunt. In fact, I went to my uncle. My uncle said, I can't do this without my wife. Ask my wife. Ask the uncle, ask the aunt. Aunt told me, never, I would never sign these papers for you. I told you, do not go to school because school is not for people like you. Go and get some work. Forget about this studying thing. Anyway, it's just not going to work for you. Um, and said a whole lot of other things, man. A whole lot of other things after that. Now I've got an opportunity to study. No one is gonna sign for me. You know what I did? I went to a room that I was sharing with my cousins. I think there was three of us. I went there and I didn't even go down on my knees. I was in bed and I said, Lord, I'm going back to varsity in a week's time. I know that you want me to study. I know that you want me to be something in life. I know that you have plans for my life. And I know that your plans are not for me to stay in this town. Please make a plan because I'm going back. Went back to varsity, went straight to that lady again. I told that lady, listen, I don't have anyone to sign for me. My whole family is refusing to sign for me. They don't want to sign, so I'll be my own guardian. I'll do an affidavit. I'll go to the police station and write my whole story. Here's my mother's death certificate. What else do you need? I need to study. I can never forget that lady. I can never forget that lady. That's when I knew that God was with me. That was the first time after my mother's death that I knew God was with me. A lot happened. People said a lot of things, and that was the first time I didn't want to cry at this video. Anyway, that was the first time that I knew God was with me. So anyway, the lady signed for me. The lady put her name there. She didn't know me from nowhere. I just met her in the financial office of the school. I was able to study that year, and my fees were paid because I did well at school. And yeah, I finished my degree. Anyway, so that showed me that God is there. That showed me that it doesn't matter what people do or what people say. Even your blood, it doesn't matter. What matters is what God says about you. What matters is if God says He will be there for you, He will be there for you. If God says He's your provider, He will provide. God says He will protect you, He will protect you. I'm just trying to think of other things that I'm comfortable talking about here where God showed up. So this is fast forward now to adult life. I remember when I was going through my divorce. I don't know why I'm always calling it my divorce. Not my divorce, it's a divorce. And there was obviously the abuse that was going on, and in and out of a police station, reporting this, reporting that. And the ex-husband also was doing his own thing, reporting things obviously that were not there. And so this one time he had gotten a restraining order against me. Well, I got a restraining order against him first, and then he went back to get his own restraining order. People in South Africa will know what I'm talking about restraining orders. I don't know what it's called in other countries. Anyway, so he had lied to the police this time and said that I attacked him. And then I was supposed to go the following day to court and get a warrant of arrest. Like if he does something to you when you are being abused by someone, and they break the rules of the order. So when the police are coming to fetch them, they need the warrant of arrest or something from you. So I had gone the day before that day, and they told me to come back the following day. Apparently he had gone also, and he got his for some reason. But that's another story for another day. The courts in South Africa are just messed up, and they don't protect women, by the way. So anyway, so I found myself in jail. Jesus. I found myself in jail in my nightgown and pajamas. And I slept there in the cold. And uh, anyway, so and when you get there dressed like that, like the police have a lot to say. Um, you know, they would make fun and ask questions, and I don't feel like talking to anyone at this point. I'll just look at them and feel sorry for them because they don't know your story. They don't know who you are, what you're all about. All they see is a lady being brought in with a van by their colleagues, and it is assumed that you are abusing your husband when it's your husband that's abusing you. So you're going through all of that at home, and then you get to the police station and you get the same thing from the police. But that's what happens anyway. You get victimized by the police also. Anyway, so I sleep there. The following day they take me to court, and I think the judge threw the case out of court. Nothing was said to me. I was never asked if I'm guilty or if I'm not guilty. Did you beat him? Whatever. No one asked me none of that. That for me was God. That for me, right there in that courtroom, was God showing up for me once again. I once said that God is a lawyer in the courtroom. That's how I know him. Not only does he make a way out of no way, like when I say these things, I know when he made a way for me out of no way. I have evidence. When I say God is a healer, I know that he healed me. I've got evidence of that. When I say that God, Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Rapha, I know what I'm talking about. I've got evidence of this. When I say God is a provider, I know what I'm talking about. When I had nothing, but he paid a way for me. There was no lawyer for faith in that courtroom. But the judge said, I'm going to throw this case out of court. Miss Machinga, you are free to go home. Remember, I'm wearing a gown and pajamas. And then I'm in the middle of a big town. How do I take a taxi looking like that? How do I take a bus looking like that? I don't have any money. I don't have nothing. I don't even think I had my phone because you're not supposed to take your phone. I'm telling you that one of the policemen took me in a private car and said, Faith, come here. I'm going to take you home. Took me in a private car. I came to the police station with a police van. I left in a private car. The man dropped me in front of my house, waited for me to open and get in and tell him that I'm safe. There was a lady with us in the car, very young lady. The lady was quoting scriptures for me. The lady told me that this is what God said. This is what God said. And I think one of the things that got me is she said, "You're going to be okay. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know why this man is doing this to you, but you are going to be okay." So I went home and I knew that God is with me. No matter where I am, I can be in a ditch somewhere, I can be in a hole, I can be in prison. God is always with me. And I think that's one of the things that just keeps me going in life, you know, that keeps me sane, that keeps me smiling every day because I know that there's a higher power that is looking after me, that wants the best for me, no matter what this world does. Man, oh man, there are so many instances, if you like, so many things that have ever happened in my life where I didn't know. I didn't know how I would get out of a situation and God just comes through. There's so many. There was one time where I had no money. I had literally nothing with my daughter because the ex-husband refused to pay because when I left my house, he promised to pay rent for 6 months, but he only paid for 3 months. Now I have 3 months with nothing. You know, I don't have any money. I'd gone back to school. I'm studying. Sure, Jesus. Now I'm going to be homeless with a child. And then I remember I spoke to a friend of mine, a friend that I've always had from varsity. Many of my closest friends are male, by the way. So I talked to him and then I told him what I was going through and he sent me money. He just sent me money. He just told me, okay, fine, I'm gonna help you. For me, that was God. That was God. He came through once again. There was another time that I can never ever forget, and I never mentioned this to anyone. I never told anyone this. So I was studying, and then a family member had paid my fees for a year. I went to one private university, um, very expensive school. The fees were about 100K per year, which, yeah, it's a lot. But I wanted to be able to work internationally. So then that's why I went to that school. So this family member, even there, I had trusted God that He will provide. You know, I trusted that God is going to provide for this, and I know that I'm intelligent, so I'm gonna get this. And there were bursaries also. So, but you needed to apply for the bursaries. That's another story. God showed up even there. Oh Lord Jesus. Okay. So anyway, so this family member paid for the 1 year, sent 100K to my account. In fact, he said, okay, let me send the 100K to the school's account. He sent the 100K to the school's account, so my fees were settled for that 1 year. He said he's gonna pay for me. It's okay. it's fine. You can study. I'll chill, you know. And he does have money. So I was like, okay, fine. Following year, he sends me a message and he tells me, listen, I'm not going to be able to be your sponsor. I didn't even know what a sponsor was at that time. Like, I didn't know that he saw himself as a sponsor. I thought he, you know, I thought we are family. So he's helping someone in the family. Didn't know that he called, you know, he referred to himself as my sponsor. Anyway, so he refused to, he told me, well, I'm not going to be able to be your sponsor. Find another sponsor. Just like that. Okay. Okay. uh I've got this thing with God, right? When I talk to him, I don't know, like I don't believe that I have to be anywhere for me to pray. I pray anyway. And I don't believe that I have to do this and do this and do this for in order for me to pray, cover myself, wear this dress like this, go down on my knees. I pray wherever I am. I could be in a shower and I'll speak because I know that God hears me. And at this time I said, I believe that you are the one who brought me here. And I know that you are God who makes a way out of no way. Thank you for making a way for me. And then the following day, I looked at the bursaries and I said, I'm going to apply for this bursary. The bursary is for people younger than me at the time. This is the second bursary that I got, even though my age, I was older than the required age. Let me just put it like that. But I got the bursary. And they paid for everything. And they even refunded me what that man paid for the first. He doesn't even know that. If he watches these videos, he probably know now because I never told him. For me, that was God. For me, that was God. Now I had, not only did I have money to pay my fees, but I had money to sustain me and my daughter for a 6 to whatever 12 months. We were never hungry. Sure, we didn't have everything that we had before because we had a big house before. I had my dream car before, but we had a home. We had warm water. Mommy was starting over, and mommy was studying so that she can get a better job, or whatever. But I was making sure that I'm creating a better life for myself and for my daughter. There was a time when I had lost my job and I was unemployed for 4 months, 4 to 5 months, and someone referred me to a job. A friend of mine was interviewed for a job and he was not qualified. And he told me about this job and he told me to apply. That's a friend. He said, Faith, this is your thing. You are in this marketing thing. I don't know nothing about marketing. I just wanted to try it out because he was interested in the field, but didn't have the skills. He didn't have he didn't have marketing. Um, Jesus. These are people that are called into your life, you know? These are people that didn't come in your life by mistake. These are people that God puts into your life, in your life for a reason. I'll never forget what he did for me. Never. Anyway, long story short, I applied for the job, got along with the guy. It was an international company. The guy happens to be from Cape Town. So we were talking our Cape Town slang. It was all great. Um, he, he, we were just friends. Introduced me to the owners of the business. 3 interviews, I got the job because a friend referred me to the position. God showed up once again for me. I can count so many times. I can tell you so many stories. Um, I just want you to know that God is real. I know we are going through a lot in life, and sometimes you might be wondering if there is a God at all. If He exists, if He is for you, you know, if He's really for you. But I know Him, and if He can do it for me, somebody who has no family, someone who has no parents, someone who was told that she was going to fail in this life, someone who was told that she's not going to amount to anything. He can do it for you. Listen, I'm not a preacher. I'm not interested in being a preacher. But I know God. That I know. I know there is a God. And that's all I want you to know. You talk to Him, He listens and He answers. It might not be what you want to hear, but it's what you want to need. I mean, it's what you need. Now, like I said, I thought I had it figured out. I thought I had strength to face each and every battle. But 2024 showed me flames. 2024 showed me flames. I think 2024 for me, yo, it was just trials and trials and trials and trials. I even questioned why God took me to school. Like, why did you help me get all these degrees? Why? I said I had so many whys. And all I heard was that I want to use you. Forget the degrees. Forget the money. Forget everything that you thought you knew about life. Forget about it. Forget about it all. I need to use you for myself. Like, but don't you use people who go to church? Don't you use people who are perfect? Don't you use people who grew up in surrounded by family? Don't you use people who had a mother and a father who came from perfect families, who have a family, you know, that they can go and cry to? Because I've always cried to you. You are everything to me, you know. So like, why me? Why what? I'm unqualified. I'm dirty. You know, I'm totally unqualified. I'm not worthy. I I don't think I'm a bad person at all, but like I've done things that I'm not proud of. I've done things um that I'm just not proud of. And but God said, well, I know all about that, but I need to use you. I need you to tell your story for my own glory. And then me being me, I there are some stories that I don't want to tell. There's some stories I'm like, no, I don't want anyone to know that. But then when God uses you, He wants you to He wants you to talk about those stories, exactly those ones that you don't want to share, exactly those ones that don't want to talk about. You want to You're running away from. Those are the ones that He wants to use for His own glory, because they are not for you. They are for His own glory. If He took you through something, He wants you to help others so that others can see that if you could survive that, so can they. So now I do understand that He wants me to empower others. He wants me to encourage others. He wants me to uplift others. And He reminded me that's exactly who I am. That's who I've always been. That's why I have attracted so many people that just want to take from me. That's why I've attracted leeches in my life. People who take advantage of you, you know. He reminded me of that, well, that's why. That's why. It's because you are good at that. You are good at making others feel good about themselves. You are good at reminding people of who they are. You are good at helping people come out of dark places, dark spaces. You are good at empowering people. You are good at uplifting people. And that's what He's called me to do. I still don't think I'm qualified for that. I don't think I'm qualified for that. But anyway, I think God calls. he's got a he's got a track record of calling people who are not qualified anyway. I mean, Moses was someone who started, he couldn't speak, but He called him to speak and lead people. There's so many stories in the Bible, people who were not qualified, who people were looking down on, but God raised. Hey, Jesus. There's a there's a story that I have always gone back to, the story about Joseph. Now, I don't know where that is in the Bible. I'm not those people who are good at telling you that this verse comes from this page or whatever. But the story of Joseph is one story for me that is very close to my heart, because a lot happened to that man, but God was with him from beginning to end, from beginning to end. He didn't look at the beginning, he didn't look like what he was going to become. They didn't know who he was. They had sold him. His own brothers, his own family rejected him. His own family turned their backs on him, only to be helped by him when God revealed who he was. Oh man, for me, that is the scripture or page or whatever you want to say. When I want to say story that I always go back to, like when I'm going through my own things. I always remember Joseph. I always remember Daniel in the pit with lions, where God shut the mouth of the lions, hungry lions that didn't eat him, where everybody thought, where the people who threw him in there were very much sure that those lions, those hungry lions, are going to eat him. They never did. I have so many stories like that in my life. And I'm sure that's what God wants me to talk about. Where people have thrown you in the bin, where people have thrown you in the bin, literally, like said we were done with her. We don't want anything to do with her. And then God showed up. I don't know why God wanted me to make this video, but I hope it gives someone hope. I hope it lets you know that there is a God out there. I hope I hope you learn something from this. I hope you know that you are not alone, even when everybody has left you, even when everyone has turned their backs on you. I hope you know that you are not alone. You are never alone. I do want to say this before I stop, that I've also learned that we must be very careful when we say to God, your will be done. Because we create with our own tongues, right? Our own thoughts. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You create with your own, you speak, and therefore it becomes. If you keep quiet, nothing's going to happen in your life. But if you speak, things are going to happen. Just be careful if you say to God, your will be done. Because his will has nothing to do with anything that you know. Doesn't matter how many years of experience you have in this life. God will reroute you. He will reroute you. He will make you forget everything that you think that you know. A friend said the other day, he rebrands you. I think that's the right word. God rebrands you. He strips you of everything that you know because he wants to rebrand you. He wants to make you his. So everything that you know about this life, everything that you think you know about your career, everything, he will remove it and and lead you into a new path. So when you say, Lord, let your will be done in my life, you must know that in my own experience that he wants to lead you. He does not want you to do anything without him. Everything that you do, you must ask him about it first, get confirmation, and then go ahead. He wants you to surrender everything to him. Whatever it is that you've been carrying, he wants you to put it down. If you live with unforgiveness of certain people that have hurt you, which is understandable, he will tell you to forgive them, whether you like it or not. He will tell you whatever trauma that you didn't even know that you're still carrying. He will take you back there. It won't be nice because he will dig in. The trauma that you chose to forget about, you chose to leave behind. No, you don't do that with trauma. You deal with it. He will go take you back there and dig it up, and you'll find yourself crying about the same thing that happened when you were 4 years ago, when you were 4 years old, because he wants you to deal with it. He wants to take control. I always thought that I have everything in control of my life. I always thought that I have it figured out. Um, so when you surrender to God, he wants to take care of everything. He wants you to surrender your anxiety. He wants you to surrender your worry. He wants you to surrender your anxiousness, your depression. God is a jealous God. You know, he does not want anything in his way. He strips you of all of these things, even money. He will strip you of money if he can see that your God is money. He will strip it off you just to show you that I can provide for you. If your God is your marriage, he will strip you of your marriage just to show you that he is God. If your God is your career, he will reroute your career, or he will strip you of your job to show you that he is God. He wants you to surrender. He wants to lay it all down. He wants you not to be able to move without talking to him. He wants you to do everything with good intention. He wants you to be a child again. He wants you to go to him like a child, you know? You know how our kids are. They just grow up. They don't know where the next meal is gonna come from. They don't care. But we provide for them. They trust us as their parents. They trust us with everything. That's what God wants from you. That's what God wants from you. He wants, he said once to me, he wants, I want you to come to me. I don't want you to come to me with knowledge. Remember, I said in the beginning, like I thought I had it figured out, like I'd been through so much that I thought, okay, I know, you know, I've got my strategies when I'm going through a lot. When I'm going through a breakup, this is what I do. When I do this, this is what I do. But no, don't come to me with knowledge. I want you to come to me with faith. Okay. When God calls you, he wants to create a new path for you. Your path won't look like anything that you've seen in this world because it's a new path. You know, you're creating a new trail. He will literally, he will make you forget about everything that you've heard before. Because he does not want you to copy others. he you know, when something is being rebranded, you strip off everything that it was before. That's what he wants, guys. Forget everything that you've ever known. Open up yourself and tell him that, here I am, Lord, do with me what you want. That's what you say when you say, your will be done against my will. This has just reminded me of the song, your will be done against my will. I thought it right. I've done it all. I thought it right, but I was lost, just like the prodigal son. I listened to that song today. I was like, Lord, this is me. I thought it was all right, but no, it wasn't. Trust in him. You can never go wrong with God. Never. People will love you and leave you. People will promise you things and never come through for you. People will lie against you. People will lie about you. People will lie to you. People will say they love you today, then tomorrow they don't. But he never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. People have always asked me, what is my secret? For me to still be standing after all that I've been through. It's not my own strength. It's because I trust in God. I don't trust anyone in my life except for my kids. The only person that I trust is God, because he has never failed me yet. He has never failed me yet. Thank you so much, guys, if you've been watching till now. This has probably been the most difficult video for me to make. And I have a feeling that the one who is within me is still going to force me to do videos like this. But his will be done. Take care of yourself.